Very cool. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. This is Jim the Mega Bubble Man in his sort of kitchen lab mixing up some bubble solution, and I'm going to show you a little bit of the process here so I can put this on the website. It makes it easier for those who are mixing up their own gallon to 4 gallons worth of bubble solution. The baking soda that gets put in, 3/4 of a tablespoon. Here we have the citric acid powder, and that's just a 1/2 teaspoon. J-Lube, this says it's a hand lubricant, very, very concentrated. Bubble artists use this, and sometimes they use this as opposed to guar gum. And the Ultra Dawn, I get the 70 fluid ounce, that's about $10. They also have them on the shelf 75 ounce, but it's a whole lot more expensive, and this is the best deal right here. Here we have the guar gum powder, and I get this 4-pound bag. You could find it in the grocery store for smaller. I usually get this online. So what I have here, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mixes that I'm in the process. These were already mixed, and I'll show you how. This is what we call a gooey mix. So this is what gets mixed with the 4 to 5 gallons of water. All right, so here we have the blue is the Ultra Joy, Ultra Dawn, and there's 3/4 of a cup in here, and there's all the other powders. So when you mix it, I like the flexibleness of the tablespoon here, and I'll show you why. Because when I mix, it helps me grab the solution on the bottom, and when I do that, it helps draw it all out instead of just starting to stir it. When you go like this, and because then you're pulling up everything in there, and so I'm stirring it. It's got that really pastel blue color. You can see how it looks like sort of pudding. And then I'll take another teaspoon measure here, and I'll scrape it off like that. So sometimes you'll still find some of the powder that's on the top. So that's why I scrape it, and then I go back to mixing it in. So it's a really fluffernutter mix. Now, other bubble artists will use a different formula, but it's essentially still a gooey mix is what we generally call it. And when this is, if you leave it overnight, it can turn into this. And you can see how stiff that is in there, and starting to slide a little bit. And so here I go, I'm going to do this one now. And so here's the powder sitting on top. I put the powders in first, then I put in the Dawn. So I'm using obviously just the mug, and I'm drawing out all the powders from all the different sides. So you can see how they're not mixed there, but as I just stir, it's making that color, that beautiful pastel blue. Thump, 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 thump. Whoop, and I'm scooping again around the bottom edges. So there's a chemical reaction going on in here now too. So you can see how fluffy that is, and let's scoop that down. So there's some of the powder still. Perhaps you can see that. And so we stir it around again. And it's got a really nice consistency. When I put this in the 4 to 5 gallon bucket, I'm just scooping it out with my hand. All right, so let's do this one now. So we can see in there the different powders. And when I put the powders in, I just do a very little brief stir. And now, so I'm pulling them from the edges. That's why the flexibility of this, when you do this with a normal spoon, it doesn't have that flexibility, of course, and it makes it harder to mix. Whereas the flexible spoon helps me to get in all the nooks and crannies of the mug. So you can hear it little by little getting more viscous. The viscosity is increasing. Okay, so you might see little clumps there. They're really not an issue in the bubble solution, as long as they're not all over the place. So I'm going to put that back in. And when you're measuring out the different powders, of course, when you go 3/4 of a tablespoon, you don't have to have an exact, but then you can use, right in your kitchen, half a teaspoon. One of them I'm using, I think, just 1/4 of a teaspoon, and but that's all in the directions there. So when you've got that, if you let it sit overnight, that's fine, and you can see the consistency of that. Yeah, it's just a soapy smell. And so when you put this in the pool, depending upon what color pool you have, it might look blue, it might look green, it might look yellow. And so thanks for watching that.
But don't forget the bubble.
The bigger one.
I did a bubble.
You did the bubble! Yay!
Look, I'm supporting it.
Yay! Today I'm doing an update on making the bubble solution. So here I have several mugs, and all have 3/4 cup of Dawn, and then we're going to add our other ingredients here: the J-Lube, the baking soda, and the guar gum. Here I have a 1 teaspoon / 5 milliliter measuring stick, and so I have just that, less, just under the amount. Yep. And so I'm putting that, and I'll be doing it all through all these. Then my next ingredient, I'll put J-Lube. So here is the J-Lube. I'm using the same measuring tool, and you can see about how much. And so that's gonna go in here too. And the next is the baking soda. Here we have the baking soda, and we have 1 tablespoon and just a little under a full tablespoon. So that's going in. Now we're gonna mix that up. I use one of my ice cream spoons to mix this up so it's nice and solid. So I can mix this up, and this will make my gooey mix. You can see how it's syrupy there. When I make this and then let it sit overnight or a day or two, it gets even more, it gets thicker because there's some evaporation going on. So there's the consistency. And that is ready to make 4.5 gallons.